For some time, this question has been agitating my mind also, sir, that we do believe that Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the greatest and the best of the Khatam-ul-Nabiyyin prophets, and Shariat Islamiyya and the Quran was the perfect hadith. But some of the non-Muslims or historians also, Orientals also say sometimes, what was that so soon after his death, even just first three of the caliphs were martyred, and conflicts arose within 40 years from the...
One of the reasons I have already given, the combination of the spiritual power, the spiritual responsibilities and the temporal responsibilities. This was the main cause of that destruction. Because, the state of Arabia in which Ahmad found them was that they were disjointed people of warring factions, and they have never enjoyed rule of the country as an independent state. They had never become sovereigns in their own country in the sense that Arabia was one united country and there was a regular established government. So it came their way only after Islam became victorious with the grace of Allah. Now there were many among them, in fact the majority among them, who had not accepted Islam in the early part of Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's prophethood. For instance, during the 13 years of Mecca, there were very few among the Quraysh who accepted Islam, and fewer still among the Arabian tribes who had done so. During the remaining 10 years, up to Sulh Hudaybiyah, there were disturbances all over, and most of the Arab tribes not only had not accepted Islam but were hostile to Islam. Now, how much time is left to Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam between Sulh Hudaybiyah and Fatah Makkah? That is 2 years at most, roughly speaking, plus minus. So that is to say, most of the people who accepted Islam was the majority who went with Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as 10,000 godly people to Dusi. The majority among them accepted Islam during this Sulh Hudaybiyah period. And then again war started, although no bloodshed is witnessed during the conquest of Mecca, but after that, the fight of Hunayn and Ghatfan and so on and so forth. So whoever accepted Islam during this period had very little time to be educated. And after Fateh Makkah, the youth who accepted Islam not under duress but of free will had practically no time to learn things from Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he stayed there for a very short while, and after some engagements he went back to Medina. And the distance between Medina and Mecca, as you know, is 250 some miles. So there were no modern communications. The obvious fact that they were not trained in the values of Islam was made apparent at Hunayn, at Hunayn. During that battle, the front of the Muslim army consisted mostly of the newly converted youth, and they were 10,000 at that time. The enemy was much smaller in number, and they became proud of the fact that they were so numerous. While previously all the battles which were won by Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were won in reverse order. The majority was on the enemy side and the minority was on the side of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they forgot the message, to learn the message, to learn the lesson, that it was Allah's aid which had made a small people victorious over a great people, and it was not the number which mattered. So why there was an apparent defeat at that time was because of this lack of education, lack of proper teaching of Islam. This youth became proud of their own strength, and Allah gave them a very terrible message to be remembered long after. They were so completely routed that except for Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam and a few whom you can count on fingertips, the entire Muslim army fled. And even the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not help running away. In fact, they were carried away by the tidal wave of those people who were rushing backward. Nobody could remain there. They were just lifted off the battlefield.
Most of the companions were still alive.
All of them were companions. What I am talking about is, I am talking about a day when all of them were companions. But the majority among them were untrained. The two companions which had been educated and taught by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the most part of his prophethood were comparatively so few that the newcomers were in overwhelming majority. This is what I am pointing out. And after Fateh Makkah, when he returned to Medina, he lived for a very short while, and most of the Arab tribes accepted Islam during that period. And a majority among them did not even see him. It is called Amul Wafud, the year of delegations. What happened was that the tribe sent their delegations to Huzur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They discussed things and they accepted Islam after a little argument. They went into some argument, of course. And once they were convinced, they were given authority by their tribe to accept Islam on their behalf as well. So the majority of the people who accepted Islam were not companions, was not composed of companions. It was a majority who had not even seen Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all this chaos developed because of this. Those who attacked Medina repeatedly in one form or another, or who made use of this situation in their favor to build their own empire out of the Islamic ruins, they availed of this situation to their advantage. And they went to these tribes and gave them some attractive talk, promised them things, and they started fighting with them. So they were hardly Muslims. It's quite understandable.
It must still remain that the Orientals are non-Muslim to attack Islam from that point of view.
Of course they do. Yes. Where there is no room for them to attack, even there they attack. But this is the situation. It's an understandable situation. Any other question, please? If not, then Mr. Bashir Hayat would continue with his first question.
Your first question?
Your first question is not yet finished.
There is one little...
Yes, please, come on. And that little I know would grow. Because this is the past experience.